When I was in 6th grade, I was in social skills. This teacher in front of everybody stopped the class and said, "Cut it out. This isn't the Zoey Show." I have decided that I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing until I actually am on the Zoey Show. Like, it is the Zoey Show. My life is the Zoey Show. No one else's life has to be the Zoey Show, but mine is. And if that's true, then I'm really going to put on a show. And so here I am.
Hello, and thank you for calling the Higher Self Hotline, your direct line to the divine. You've been led here by your inner knowing, and you've arrived right on cue. I'm your host, Zoey Greco, and together we'll make the ethereal earthly, helping you consciously embody your spiritual knowing and most authentic self. Please listen carefully to the following options. To discover how to fulfill your soul's purpose, press 1. To unlock infinite abundance in life, love, and career, press 2. To heal your mind, body, and spirit, press 3. To speak with your personal spirit guides, press 0. Please hold while we connect you to your highest timeline.
Hello, divine darlings, and welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline. I'm your host, Zoey Greco. Thank you so much for joining me today. And welcome to season 11 of the podcast. Now, that doesn't mean I've been doing this for 11 years. We usually get like maybe 2 seasons in a year. We do about 30 episodes per season. And I am so excited for this season. Obviously, if you are watching this on a video, you will see that things have really changed around here. For just a little bit, I want to talk to you about that process and kind of what I've been moving through, what I've been going through over the last, for sure, 7 months, but honestly, for the past year, what I have been moving through and experiencing. And boy, oh boy, is there so much to say. And at the same time, I am feeling like I don't even have the words. So let me backtrack for a second. If you are watching this on video, you can see that I am in what looks like a vintage theater. This is just the spare bedroom in my house. We took one of our guest rooms, dismantled it, and turned it into a filming studio for myself. And then we're also building out some filming spots and tableaus for my husband, Ethan, as well. He's definitely a content king these days. He's in his content era. If you guys follow him on Instagram, he's in marketing. I've loved watching him progress and evolve as well. But yeah, this whole room has become a filming studio, and we built this with our bare hands. You can't see it, but I'm sitting on like a mini stage, and then I'm sitting in these vintage movie theater seats that were a part of a set for a movie that Johnny Depp was in, or so I was told by the person I bought them from on Facebook Marketplace. That was not that wasn't the draw for me. This was just kind of like the aesthetic, the energy, the ambiance, and the vibration that I wanted to create. I had this vision for what I wanted the set to look like. And 150%, we brought it to life. This is a real chandelier. People ask me all the time if this is fake. It is real, hanging right over my head precariously. But I really am feeling like I'm in a space and in a season of my life where showing you who I am and expressing my vibration visually is feeling easier for me than explaining or expressing verbally who I am or what I'm moving through or what I'm doing. And I think a big part of that is being in a personal year 7 where you are a little bit more hermited and reserved. It's a very like insular year where you're really just kind of focused on what's happening within you and immediately around you versus, in a wider scope or on a wider scale. But I've really been feeling like I'm inside a cocoon. And earlier this year, if you follow me, if you read my newsletters, you'll see that I've talked about this a little bit. But earlier this year, I just got to feeling like I was in a cocoon, like I've been in a cocoon. And I decided to actually look up what happens inside a cocoon, because for years I have been using that metaphor with clients, like, you're in this cocoon. And I describe it as this very like violent process where as you are, shifting from one state to another, one state of existence or being to another. I've always described it like, the caterpillar suddenly starts to spread and sprout arms and antenna and, a new face. And I didn't actually know. I mean, maybe I skipped second grade. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't know. I missed the week where we grew butterflies or something. But I didn't know what exactly happens. And as I looked into it, I was utterly blown away. And this I'm sharing with you because I think this is the only way I can really describe what I've been moving through and what I've been going through. A caterpillar's only instinct is to eat and survive. It lives to eat and it eats to live, and that's about it. And eventually something happens to the to the caterpillar, where it feels like something must happen. Like it's time for whatever that is. I don't know. The caterpillar does not know what is about to happen to it, much as I have not known, 2 steps ahead what is going to be happening to me. The caterpillar enters the cocoon, and as it does, once it's in there, it starts to dissolve. The caterpillar dissolves completely into this goo. And this goo holds cells in it that the caterpillar also held, called imaginal cells. And maybe I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but that's how I pronounce it. And these cells hold the blueprint for the butterfly. It's so beautiful. The butterfly is always destined to be, and the caterpillar doesn't know that. It just eats and lives. And then one day, it knows it's time for a change. And even though the caterpillar holds those imaginal cells within it, it doesn't know what it's going to become. It doesn't even know that, as far as we are aware, that it's going to cease to exist as it has been. It doesn't know what will become of it. It just knows that it's time for change. And those cells, those imaginal cells, hold the blueprint of what the butterfly will be. And that is really what I have been moving through and what I've been trying to express and like kind of take you along for the ride of since February of last year, when I was like, do you think it's time for a rebrand? I had no clue what I was about to do. I had no idea the can of worms that I was about to unleash. I had no idea. I could not foresee the immense undoing of myself that was about to happen. The identity, the dreams, the support system. What you guys don't know is that, I only really showed up for a couple, I don't know, it could even be one, I don't know. I didn't really show up for these episodes last season on the podcast because behind the scenes, there was so much change happening. So this time last year, so August of last year, my team was me and 3 other women, primarily Katie, who you guys have known for years, and then 2 other individuals who were covering, social media and like marketing support. And it felt like we were just kind of like treading water, and I take full responsibility for that. I wasn't in a place to be visible or like show up in a new way. I just wasn't ready for what I'm ready for now. And so we were just kind of treading water, kind of keeping things alive and well as they were and as they existed. And something inside of me knew that like one by one, I was going to be separating from these women who are, still people that I love and care about very much. But it was just time for different support or different level of support. And Katie, behind the scenes, she'd worked with me for 6 years. She started as my assistant. She became my assistant and my business manager and my operations manager and my podcast editor and she was my whole world basically in so many ways. But her dreams and her agenda for her life and herself were changing drastically. And it didn't make sense for her to wear so many hats in my business, and none of them being the hat that she really wanted to wear in her life, which is web design. Katie is a web designer. So if you don't already follow Katie, please go follow her on Instagram. She's Home Away Studio. She is so talented, and web design is really her passion. It's what she loves to do. And as I looked at my business, I just thought, I have these incredible people here, but we're just sort of treading water because I'm not really ready, but I'm also not really getting, frankly, the support that I need to grow. It's the support I needed to get where I was. But if I wanted to expand any further, I needed a completely different support system to get me there. And so between August of last year and literally as I film this, it is July 19th of 2025. So for essentially the last year, I have been hiring and firing and hiring and firing and hiring and firing people. I've interviewed hundreds of people. I've, taken in nearly 1,000 applications for different positions and jobs this year. And I have assembled an entirely new team that is behind me. And it is frankly huge. It's just so many people. I have a podcast manager now, a podcast producer, a social media manager, an assistant, a podcast editor, and a business manager, as well as Ethan is on my team as my director of marketing. And I feel so excited and ignited by my support system. I feel like so much more is possible and available to me because of the amazing humans and individuals who, are each so talented in their own right. And, the way that I came upon these people, it just feels so divine, the whole process, the whole way. Each person, I became aware, okay, I was having, mostly Katie handle the majority of these tasks and these things, but these are really the jobs of multiple people. And so as I kind of became clear about what needed to be done and when in the process it needed to be done, it became clear that there was a person that needed to fill that role. And to be honest, this whole thing, everything that I'm doing started 10 years ago. In November of this year, it will be 10 years, where I just wanted a little room with my crystals and my oracle cards, not even mine, the ones that I was buying, that other people were making. And I just wanted to lay my hands on people and do Reiki. And I never imagined in my wildest vision that I would have a podcast or publish my own oracle decks or, grow a team of people or have a mentorship program or, have these other ideas and inspirations that I have that I'm currently working on bringing to life. I had no concept of that. The person that started this business was the caterpillar. She just wanted to survive. She just wanted to exist. But the imaginal cells of who I am and who I've always been were there inside this whole time. And I'm finally just getting quiet enough to hear the message of who I already am and make room for that person. And at first, for a long time, the noise came from my own inner wounding and trauma that I wasn't fully dealing with. Then the noise was compounded by being of service to people and becoming involved in, their trauma and life journeys and experiences and outsourcing my power to heal myself and focusing that to heal other people. And that felt really good for me because as much as I, on some level, also wanted to work on my own stuff, it felt so much more easy and manageable to focus on my clients. It's like, yep, from this bird's eye view that I have of your life, I can totally see what you've got going on, where we can support you in shifting that. And even along the way, the client work, like if you listen to the episodes of client sessions from years past versus the episodes that you'll hear this season, I'm a different practitioner. I'm a different person. I have changed so much. And all along the way, I was resisting because change felt so scary. Like for years, like I have known this needed to happen. Like this was waiting for me. This is who I've always been. It's who I already am. I just wasn't giving myself permission to do to live out the purpose of this person that I really truly am. And so what started as a question last year of like, should we rebrand? Should I do this under my own name? Became this whole thing where now I'm not even sure as things progress and continue if I really want to continue to identify as a psychic or an intuitive. I'm not sure right now in this moment if that is how my highest calling is expressed. And we're going to figure that out together. Frankly, like it's sort of undoing itself already. And yet at the same time, my intuitive powers and abilities feel like they're stronger than they've ever been. And I'm truly, truly using them to help others and also to lead me into this like exciting new terrain that's ahead of me. And so the power of intuition is still profoundly important to me. And I really believe that it is how we are able to live as our higher self. Like our higher self speaks to us and guides us and coaxes us through our intuitive ability. And so I really feel like what I want to start to shift into is supporting people in hearing that voice within themselves and supporting them at least at first in like validating what it's saying to them. I hear it too. And I do. I hear what your intuition is saying to you. That's my gift, is that I can hear the voice of your higher self. I can hear the voice of your guides. I hear that. And very often it's either what you're already hearing or what you're afraid to admit to yourself. And I know that because samesies, that's like literally what I'm living now is all the things that I was afraid to give into because I just didn't know if I could hold it. And now I'm learning that I don't have to build all the strength before I put my arms out. We build strength by holding it and by allowing spirit to continue to place blessings in our open arms. And we build the strength as we hold it. And I'm really, for the first time in my life, like making some fucking space for the universe to show me versus I think in the past I would get these little glimmers of, intuitive insight and I'd be like, all right, I got it. I got the assignment. I'm just going to full steam ahead, force it. And that's the Aries in me. That's the generator in me. I mean, that's who I am as a person. I'm initiatory. I like to initiate things. And it's worked pretty well for me. I mean, I'm definitely like a work harder, not smarter type of person, unfortunately. But I'm starting to develop a relationship with the universe where I'm willing to still work hard, but I'm also willing to be led in a process that is innately intelligent, not just smarter, but like a plan and a path that is created for me by this innate wisdom of spirit, of the universe. And it's so thrilling. I'm having the best time. I'm having such a good time. And I'm so happy to share it with you. If you're watching this, yes, I'm crying, but I think you can tell, like when I look at me, I see such a happy person. I'm so happy. And even when it's hard, like, listen, shifting from a 3-person team to like a 6 or 7-person team has been stressful. Like the influx of money that I have coming in has not changed, but the output has changed significantly. And the input will change as we start as a team to implement some of these big, exciting things that we're frankly like just starting to put initiative toward. Like, watch out, world. Like a year from now, we're going to be having another conversation just like this, where it's like, who knew this was going to happen? I did. As we're building that process, there's been so many places along the way that I've had to befriend fear on both like an emotional level, a pragmatic level, a fiscal and financial level, a spiritual level, and I've known that. I've known that because I've done that all along the way, but I'm definitely in the biggest undertaking, like the biggest iteration and version of this that has ever been. And I'm also doing this thing for the first time ever where I'm actually trying in front of other people, which is super scary. Like I think in the past, and this could be a product of being in my 20s, like I started my business, in my early 20s. I think especially because I look younger than I am, at least I used to. I don't know if I do anymore, but still, but I used to look younger than I am. I'm very short. I'm a woman. Like people weren't taking me seriously in life. And I had to combat that in some way. And so my thinking, my thought of how I could do that was to be just a fucking know-it-all, to be like, oh, I already know. And like, I wasn't open to like learning. I wasn't open to mentorship. I really just wanted to gain all my knowledge through experience. Like I wanted to learn and bootstrap it and do it myself. And you know what? Good on her. Love that version of me. Like look where she got me. She did this and I couldn't be more grateful to her for all that she's given me. And also, I'm just learning that there's a better way to do it, a different way to do it. And at the same time, it is still requiring that same level of befriending fear and taking big risks before you're ready and making investments before the money is like totally there. And it's interesting. Like I tell other people to do this stuff all the time. And I don't share that I'm doing it too, because I've never really wanted this to be about me. I've always wanted it to be about you. But, you've heard me talk about this over the last like year and a half that like, I'm learning that I'm important too. And I'm allowed to take up space in my own little world that I've created. Like, I get to be a part of it too. And so I think that's actually really important for me on a personal level to take up space and like let myself do that after, a lifetime of feeling like I couldn't. But also I think it's important to be an example. Like I want to be someone that walks the talk, and I have been, but how would you know that? Because I'm not telling you, I'm not showing you. I'm asking you to take big risks all the time. Like I'm like, quit your job, like leave your relationship, like make yourself happy. I am constantly providing that type of guidance. And I think it will feel more impactful if I'm also willing to show and demonstrate that I'm doing the same thing, And so all of this to say, big, exciting changes, huge. And like, I feel like I've been saying that for years, but if you can see me right now, you can tell that I'm so fucking serious. Like I'm not playing around anymore. I'm really going after what I want, and also simultaneously so trusting that the universe is going to open those doors for me and make space for me, because what I want wants me just as much. I'm really excited to take you along for the ride. And I want to conclude this little segment of the show before we get into some big exciting things regarding the numerological forecast for this month and some listener questions. I want to just leave you with this very short story. When I was in 6th grade, I was in social skills, which weird little hippie schools teach you weird little hippie things. And I had a teacher who maybe one day I'll name, but I don't know if it's really necessary, but maybe I will one day. And I was being myself. I was just being myself, talking to another classmate. And I validate that I was probably being very distracting to other students, especially to the one that I was speaking to. But this teacher in front of everybody stopped the class and said, cut it out. This isn't the Zoey Show. And I have decided that I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing until I actually am on the Zoey Show. Like, it is the Zoey Show. My life is the Zoey Show. No one else's life has to be the Zoey Show, but mine is. And if that's true, then I'm really going to fucking put on a show. And so here I am. I am ready. I am ready. Actually, I was born ready. And, life did its thing to me too. It did its thing to me. And I got confused and lost along the way too. I dimmed my light and quieted myself and put myself on the back burner and made it all about other people. And I'm just so excited to do this for me and always for you, but also now for me. And that makes it for us. And that is what I am the most excited about, is that as I am more committed to being myself in front of you, some of you are going to be like, yeah. And others of you are going to be like, this bitch changed. Like, I'm not interested anymore. She's not who she once was. And that's okay. I will survive that. I will survive that. But for those of you that want to stick around and stay and do this with me, we are about to have so much fun together. And this is a whole world that I'm building for us, where if you are an intuitive, empathetic, sensitive, sparkly dreamer, if you are a person who has this thing inside of you that says, I'm meant for something big, I'm meant for something more, I'm here for you. We're doing this together. We're allowed to be sparkly. We're allowed to shine. We're allowed to be seen. We're allowed to be heard. And I'm building a world for us where it's safe to be that, and we can be it together. And honestly, 100%, there is nothing that I could think of that I would love more. So I'm so grateful. I'm so excited. I'm so honored. As a part of that, you're going to see a lot of the things that I've been working on, a lot of the things that I've been pouring my heart and soul into. If you're following me on social media, you saw the big photo shoot. And if you haven't seen this, please, please, please go check it out. I planned this whole photo shoot. I hired like a prop designer, a shooter, a second shooter, a lighting designer. I rented out a whole studio. I sat on a cloud. Like, it was so fun and so cool. And I'm creating space in my work and in this process for my inner artist. Like, she's a creative director. Like, I love building and designing visions and worlds and creating art out of my life and out of my work. And I want to create an opportunity and a space for you to feel safe to do those things too. And so I'm leading by example. I'm here to support you every step of the way. And I'm going to start being more honest about when it's easy and when it's hard. And I'm really excited to do this with you. So thank you for being here. Thank you if you just got here and you want to stay. And also, if you're finding that this isn't resonating with you, thank you for being here till now. And if you feel like you need to go, I honor that. And I want you to find the people that you resonate with. I want you to find the medicine that will take you where you want to go next. And I'm really honored and excited to be that medicine for some of you. And for those of you who will let me, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. With that said, I really want to discuss the kind of energetic climate of what we are moving through as a collective, especially this month. So I want to look at this through a numerological lens. I know there are some people out there who do this, through astrology, some people who do this purely through prediction, some people do like collective readings. And I have to admit that like somewhere along the way, a huge part of me has become extremely passionate about numerology. It's like this thing that like I picked it up and I was like, yeah, that's for me. And I've been like letting it sit on the back burner a little bit. And I've been trying to like talk about it and show it to you and be like, I really like this thing. Like, what do you think about it? And honestly, I'm ready to start using numerology more widely, more completely, and more directly for you and for us, this collective, this consciousness, this wave and frequency of consciousness that brings us together in this space, in this arena, through the lens of numerology, because it explains a lot of what we're seeing right now, both collectively and internally. August is a collective month 8 inside a collective year 9. And that pairing brings us into some of the most intense, catalytic, and spiritually confrontational energy that we'll feel all year. First, let's understand the energy of 8. The number 8 in numerology carries the energy of power, influence, and material mastery. At its best, it represents integrity in leadership, the ability to build sustainable success, and the wisdom to use authority for collective uplifting. The gift of 8 is really in its capacity to channel ambition into service, to hold vision without losing value, and to remind us that true power is rooted in accountability, not control. It really teaches that wealth of resources, energy, opportunity is most potent when it flows, not when it's hoarded. In its shadow, 8 can become consumed by scarcity, control, and status. It can be obsessive, hierarchical, and transactional. And when not embodied correctly, it forgets the heart. It operates through fear and dominance. It believes power is finite and must be hoarded. And it confuses success with superiority and control with security. This is the energy that we're working with all month, but not in a vacuum. We're still inside of a collective year 9, the final year of a numerological cycle. 9 is the energy of endings, integration, and release, and it brings a dissolving of what's outdated, not just externally, but also internally. Beliefs, identities, attachments, ideals, entire frameworks for how we've been moving through the world. A year 9 forces clarity through confrontation, not the kind that you go looking for, but the kind that rises because you can't keep pretending not to see what's right in front of you. It forces you to release what's been dragging behind you, what you've been maintaining because it's familiar, what's been over for a long time, but not truly released. Now, September is actually the peak of the year 9, as it's the collective month 9 in the collective year 9. So August is a crucial precursor, but it's not the summit. The transformation is underway, but the clearing isn't yet complete. We're not at the tower moment or the collapse. We're standing right in front of it, sort of feeling the tension in the foundation. And that's why this month is so important, because we're feeling the weight of what we've built. We're seeing the cost of what it takes to maintain it. And aligned 8 energy reminds us that power isn't inherently harmful. It's how we use it that matters. When embodied with integrity, 8 becomes the builder, the steward, the protector. It really teaches us how to hold power with open hands, how to lead without domination, and how to create material stability that supports rather than suppresses. And this energy really wants us to remember that influence can be regenerative. Wealth can be shared. Structure can serve liberation, not just control. And the systems that we live in, political, economic, institutional, they're all built on shadow 8 values: extraction, exploitation, consolidation of power. Collectively, we're reaching the threshold where those systems can't be sustained without increasingly visible violence, inequality, instability, corruption, greed, you name it. We're seeing that in the collective. The power structures are being exposed. The old narratives are unraveling, and each of us is being asked personally and collectively to stop participating in our own energetic poverty. This is especially relevant right now as we collectively confront what it means to live in a system that has made basic rights a luxury, where healthcare is withheld, where autonomy is policed. Billionaires hoard wealth while teachers buy supplies for their classrooms out of pocket. This is both energetic and political, which makes it deeply personal. And 8 doesn't let us ignore that. It brings everything up to the surface, the truth about who has power and who's been asked to pay for it. So if you've been noticing scarcity thinking showing up around money, survival mode, a lack of trust in what's coming next for you, you're not alone. And that's not just yours to hold. That's the collective climate speaking through you, being experienced through you. So what do we do with all of this? We slow down. We listen. We don't bypass what's coming up, but we don't collapse into it either. We meet it with curiosity and we meet it with care. This month is asking you to look at your relationship with power and your relationship with money, because in this world, they are rarely separate. They're deeply intertwined. Where are you still operating from scarcity, even when you know better? Where are you spending money just to feel in control, or withholding it out of fear? Where do you overgive, undercharge, shrink from receiving because something in you still believes that you have to earn what should be naturally received? These are the questions that are begged by 8, but 9 asks, are you ready to stop? This is a time to trace your beliefs about money back to their origin. Who gave them to you? What systems are they serving? And what would it look like to build a relationship with money that's rooted in trust, clarity, generosity, enoughness, not guilt or performance? Aligned 8 reminds us that money is not inherently corrupt. It's energy, it's resource, it's a tool. It reflects your values. It amplifies your intentions. It reveals what you believe is possible. And in the right hands, it can heal just as much as it can harm. But to hold money in a healthy way, you have to let go of the identities that you've built around deprivation. You have to stop performing for approval and start making financial decisions that are clean and conscious and self-honoring. 9, in the collective energy, will help you release the old story, but only if you're willing to see it clearly first. So let this be the month you get radically honest about what you're building and why. Let it be the month that you stop sacrificing your peace to stay inside a structure that doesn't see your worth. Let it be the month where you remember that power isn't about control and wealth isn't about accumulation. It's all about responsibility, about what you choose to build, protect, make possible with what you have. This energy isn't asking you to reject ambition. I want to be very clear about that. It's asking you to redefine what success costs and who you're willing to become to achieve it. You don't need to prove your worth through deprivation. You don't need to shrink to stay safe. You don't need to spend your life performing stability inside systems that just keep you inside of survival. You're allowed to want more and to have it without self-abandonment. That's what alignment really means. Not perfection, just self-honesty, choosing what actually serves you, even if it's unfamiliar. And together, in the collective, we will benefit from allowing that to be enough to start. So this is really your invitation to use this numerology, to use the energy of 8 inside of 9, to ask yourself these deep, meaningful questions and make aligned choices to release what you know and what you have known isn't working for you anymore. So if you want to understand what this month holds for you on a more personal level, definitely check out Instagram, TikTok, and also my newsletter where I'm sharing specifically your numerology horoscope for the month based on your attitude number, which you get by adding your day and month of birth. So if you want a deeper sneak peek into the personal impact this is going to have on you, I have those resources available to you everywhere you can consume my content. So this brings us to the final segment of today's episode, the Let Me Ask My Psychic segment. So Mike, go ahead and drop that intro in right here.
Feeling like something's missing in your life? Searching for clarity in the chaos? Unsure of your next move or just need some wise guidance? It's time for Let Me Ask My Psychic. Right here on the Higher Self Hotline, Zoey Greco is ready to dial into the divine and deliver some heavenly hints just for you. So why not give us a ring at 1-800-HIGH-ANGEL? Because who wouldn't want a little angelic advice?
All right, so today we're going to take 2 listener letters. Our first one comes from Marisol, and the subject is, how do I find friendships that actually feel like home? So she says, hi Zoey, I've been listening to you for a while now, and I've never written in before, but this has been sitting on my heart for a long time. You're someone I honestly look up to so much, like deeply. I admire the life you've created, not just the career stuff, which is amazing, but the way you talk about your friendships. The people around you just feel so good and grounding. I can feel how real your connections are, and I think that's what I want more than anything right now. I've always been the dependable one, the strong friend, and lately I've been realizing I don't feel fully met. I want people I can be silly with, deep with, messy with, people who see me and still stay. Ugh. It honestly makes me emotional to even say that out loud. Me too. It made me emotional to read it. How did you find those people? Or maybe how did you become someone who attracted that kind of friendship? I really want that. Thank you for being someone I can learn from just by watching how you live. With love, Marisol. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for those kind words. You have no idea what that means to me. My heart is so fulfilled by that. So thank you. And I want to just say you said something that feels really significant. And I feel like this is the point that I want to touch on perhaps more than anything else. You said, I want people I can be silly with, deep with, messy with, people who see me and still stay. And I just want to clarify that sometimes, and I think perhaps most times, you won't be able to receive all of those very valid desires from the same small group of individuals. So, for instance, I'm a part of a very large and sort of like ever evolving and growing friendship group. If you follow me on social media, you see that like my friends and I, someone every month is hosting something. And it's just, so fun and amazing to see everyone get to like hostess and like bring their own experiences and energy to, what we all share. But even though we all like to have fun together and enjoy those collective moments, some of my very close girlfriends do a lot of things without me because they're not necessarily things that I like to do. Like I have friends, I'm part of like the group within the group that really loves to like shop. I'm like one of the fashion girlies. And then we have some of our like sport girlies, and we go to each other for needs that we have. Like if I have questions about running shoes or like anything, I know who of my friends I can go to for that. And I'm always the one that's getting asked about, what people should wear to things or how they should style things, or, if they're working on their branding or, there's certain things that like I can bring to the table and certain things that I don't bring to the table. And I think it's so important to not feel like you have to find like 3 close friends who can accommodate and fulfill every desire that you have, but rather to cast a bit of a wider net. And you will find that in that there are some friends that there is, a profound amount of overlap with. Like you guys have met through the podcast over the years in many different ways and iterations. My good friend Taryn. Taryn is one of my favorite people on the planet. And she's definitely one of the outdoor girlies. I would say we're 2 of the like super spiritual girlies in the friend group. We both love to shop. We both, there's things that like really overlap for us. And we can go one moment like laugh crying to like crying about like our deeper inner trauma. Whereas some of my friends, I don't really open up to about my, deeper emotional needs because they don't necessarily hold the capacity for that. And that doesn't make them less valuable to me in my life, because there are things that I know I can go to them and only them for, that they bring to my life that is so medicinal and powerful and potent in its own way. Like my friend Yesenia really has taught me how to connect to my inner child. And like she and I will go to the ends of the earth to find Labubu. Like we will do anything, like we give each other toys for like Christmas and birthdays. We're just those girlies. Like there are so many needs inside of me. I'm a multifaceted person, and I can't expect that my other very multifaceted friends, that all of the different fractaled edges of us will completely align and overlap. That's the first thing I would say is don't feel like you have to get everything from just a few people. And also don't expect yourself to be, everything for the people in your life. Just because you've been dependable and strong doesn't mean that you have to continue being that. You're allowed to draw boundaries. And as you do, you'll find that the right people honor those boundaries, and you'll find that the misaligned people take issue with your boundaries. And that's how you start to begin to see and know who really is, I don't want to say deserving, but like deserving of that place in your life versus those who maybe haven't earned that much access to your energy because they're not willing to show up in reciprocity. And reciprocity, mind you, is not always one for one. It's not always, I do this for you, so you do this exact same thing for me. Sometimes it's like, I provide really great advice and you plan our next trip or our next vacation. Like things are not one for one in friendships, and scorekeeping is never going to do you any favors. But as long as you don't feel like you're pouring in more than you're being poured into, then, you're in a good place. But the last thing I would say as well is that the most direct, effective method for building meaningful, lasting relationships is being yourself. And this is hard. This is hard. And I've talked about this on the show. I've talked about the different ways that, like, especially back in 2023, I got my heart stomped on, handed to me, thrown back in my face several times. And even in 2024, I experienced that a bit as well. And I feel like I've kind of like weeded those people out of my life because I've been increasingly myself over the last several years, to the point that now all that's left around me are the people that really fuck with me, the people that like really be fucking with my energy and what I bring to the table. And it's so important too, because not all of your friendships are going to feel comfortable or amazing, every moment, because good friends also challenge you and help you grow and help you expand. Like I have a friend who once told me, it's hard to be my friend if you don't love yourself, because I'm just always pouring love onto you. And if you don't love yourself, you might think I'm fake or misunderstand me or take me the wrong way or whatever. And I had to learn that the way that I love isn't too much. It's just not comfortable or able to be received by everyone. And that doesn't mean that it's too much for some people. For some people, it might not even be enough. And for my friends, it's just right. So be yourself as fully and completely as you can, even when you're met with rejection, and know that that rejection is creating space for the people who will truly, truly meet you and who you are. And remember that sometimes casting your net widely and having certain friends for certain things is exactly what the doctor ordered. So thank you, Marisol, for that amazing, amazing question. I loved it. Moving on to our second and our last question. This is from Imani, and the subject line is, what was the hardest part of becoming you? Damn, I don't know if I'm prepared to answer this. Hi, Zoe. I've never written into a podcast before, but this felt important. You've become such a source of inspiration in my life. Not even just what you do, it's the way you move, the way you speak, and who you are. Oh, you live in this way that feels so true and beautiful and powerful. And even the time I hear you talk about your life, I feel something open in me. Like maybe I could have that too. You can, Imani, you can. I've been doing the inner work. I've let go of a lot. I've healed so much. And still sometimes it feels like I'm standing in the hallway between versions of myself. Imani, yes. I feel this next chapter, but I haven't stepped fully into it yet. So I guess I just want to ask, what was the hardest part of becoming the version of you that you are now? Not the public part, the inner part. What did it take to actually live the life you saw for yourself? Thank you for showing me what's possible. Love, Imani. These questions are fire. Whew, this is tough. I guess what I would say is the part that was most challenging for me was actually spending time with myself, whether that was in therapy or whether that was journaling or meditating or just the time I spent alone with myself, pursuing my interests and the things that I'm excited about, things that I like. And that was particularly hard for me because I was very challenged in my life by people around me. And, not even just the people, not really the people closest to me, but everyone else in the world, which is interesting because that made me really able to have close, intimate relationships, but really struggle with casual relationships. And still to this day, that's something I'm trying to learn and master is how to have more casual relationships, because I found that people who didn't really get a chance to know me weren't having it. They I was obnoxious. Obnoxious is a word I've been called so many times in my life. Annoying. I talk too much. I'm too this, I'm too that. I'm too extra. I'm too loud. I'm whatever, And so as I actually spent time with myself and got to really know myself, the hardest part of that was realizing that I'm not as bad as everyone tried to make me think I am. And that really fucked with my head to be actually, I'm sensitive and kind and I'm loud because I'm cheering people on and I'm obnoxious because I'm willing to share and I'm brave enough to tell a joke or tell a story or I learned that all the things that I had been fed about myself, about how terrible I was or how too much I was, weren't true. And that was really hard. It was really hard to face that I had been living inside of lies about myself that other people had told me. And it was really hard to face how much I had let that dictate how I lived and let it control me. And it was really hard for me to accept. This sounds crazy and sounds I feel embarrassed to say this out loud, but it was hard for me to come to a peaceful place with the fact that I'm lovely. Now that when I spend time with myself, I'm actually one of my favorite people. And I know that might sound bizarre, but I really like myself. But in order for me to come to that place, I had to really spend time with myself and allow myself to challenge the narratives and stories that other people had told about me to me or about me to each other, and really come to peace with oh, that's not actually, that isn't who I am. Who they say I am isn't who I am. I know who I am. And when I look at those qualities that were criticized by others, they're qualities that I personally really like. So even if they still to this day would be and if they really got to know me, be nah, fuck that. I hate that. She's annoying. She's obnoxious. She's too much, whatever. I could survive that now and be oh, okay, too much for you. Sorry, your puny little arms can't hold all this glory. I'm in a different place now. And that came through doing the thing I really didn't want to do, which was being with myself in quiet moments, in echo chambers, therapy, where I'm just talking to my poor sweet therapist and hearing myself and reckoning with what's true and not true, and spending time with my journal and spending just time with myself as a being and a person. That is what really moved the needle for me. But it was maybe one of the hardest parts. But also just want to throw out there that the most rewarding thing I've done for sure. And also once I was doing it, it didn't feel as hard as I thought it did, or I thought it would. Once the ball got rolling, the momentum was pretty quick. I'm going on 4 full years in therapy, but I've been feeling pretty good for quite a while now. Obviously, I talked about in the beginning of the episode, there's deeper things that I'm still navigating and working on. And thank goodness, thank goddess, because that means I'm still living. If I'm growing, it means I'm alive, and that's what I want. So, Imani, thank you for this question. And I hope my answer is resonant and supportive to you on your journey. And with that, that's the end of today's episode. A bit of a doozy, but a lot of good nuggets in here. So I just want to thank you for listening to another episode, for tuning in for an entirely new season, for joining me on this journey, for allowing me to be a little bit extra. I actually am enjoying it. So thank you for being here. And there you have it, blessed babes. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. And I would love to take a moment to send this week's subject, you, some love, sweetness, and positivity as we continue to grow and glow together. If you're interested in being on the podcast, send an email to podcast@zoegreco.com. Connect with me on all socials. I'm doing cool stuff. I'm showing you cool stuff. So tap in at the Zoey Greco on all platforms. Of course, I want to conclude by reminding you that you are important. You matter. And you are perfect exactly as you are. I love you. Your spirit guides love you, and the universe loves you. So, until next time, keep answering the call of your higher self. Bye, guys.